Hello, family. Thank you for coming over to the house tonight. And just kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Party on down to the SK beat. We're kicking. Just kicking. Just kicking. Okay, you don't come to another episode where we're going to be asking the question of, why you telling my business? Don't be telling my business. Why not? Because a can and a can, a can, and a wheel. Now we're off to... Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Yes, thank you for coming over to the house tonight. Okay, we're going to be discussing another person, because we did two other persons or people within the same family, and you know we can't leave the main patriarch, okay, the patriarch of the family, meaning the man of the family. And everything is over here. It's just for criticism, comments. We can research it, whatever we're talking about here and there, but everything's allegedly over here. But thank you for all my new subscribers. Thank you for all my old subscribers. And thank you for the ones that are sitting on the fence. What you waiting for? Come on over here. The Dale Chanel's 4Days World. And that was my other channel that briefly was shown there. Make it make sense. Go over there and patron me on that particular platform as well. Okay? And make sure you turn on all your notification bells to know when I drop down videos, okay? So you'll stay in the loop, be in the loop, and it's just a whole loopy good time, okay? So make sure you say or hit that bell and sign up for notifications, and then you'll know when I really do drop a video. But today's topic of discussion is none other than John Russell Houston. I bet you say, why I'm covering him? Well, hell, I covered his wife. I covered his lover, allegedly, and I covered his daughter. So it would be befitting for me to talk about him, right? But we're going to let you listen to some audios from information that was taped from Extra, that they inserted a video about John, Whitney's dad, in the hospital, and what he had to say about Whitney owing him money, and he needed his money, and it's just not right. She should give him what he needs. And on Whitney's hand, she like, shit, I'm taking care of your hospital bills, okay? But I don't owe you any money, Dad. It's almost like he had children to be able to help him when he get old. I'm like, when do you let them live their life and then you gave them a good foundation, a good start in life? Don't you think it's natural for them to come back and help you within your old age? Okay? But Whitney didn't see it that way. She said he had a lot of folks in his ears that did not mean him no good. And they sat up there and sued. This man sued his own daughter. I think it was for $1 million. I can't remember, but we might get into it before the video ends. But yeah, he said his daughter owed him money for getting good deals for her, or her contracts and stuff, and endorsements and this, that, and the third. He said his daughter owed him, honey. But let's just hear some of the audio from extra.com that they had when he was still in this world. Okay, honey? So he's just a hot mess. But it was taped in 2002. Okay, and it says Whitney's dad, John Houston, interview at the hospital while influenced by lying people. Extra reports. Okay, so let's go into it.
I'm addicted to a few things.
Whitney Houston revealed her darkest secrets in an interview last night with ABC's Diane Sawyer. The superstar even welling up with tears, discussing the $100 million lawsuit filed against her by her own father.
Stop, please. Sure, thanks.
But only the hot new syndicated show Celebrity Justice has her dad's side of the story in an exclusive interview.
I'm tired of being hurt. I'm tired of being in a neglected state.
Recently hospitalized after taking a fall and with failing health, 82-year-old John Houston tells Celebrity Justice Whitney owes him because he helped her get out of charges of marijuana possession, but mostly because he repeatedly organized her finances and helped negotiate her $100 million contract with Arista Records.
Well, that money is not mine. 7 points is mine. And that's what she was supposed to give me. I told her what I wanted, and she agreed to it. Okay, Daddy.
Whitney and her father both believe other people are coming between them. John blaming some of the problems with his daughter on his son-in-law, entertainer Bobby Brown.
This is mine. That is my youngest child and my only daughter.
And he said she's still his little girl and his only girl. When he talks of her, he still smiles just a little bit because it is his daughter.
Well, we trying to figure out is Teresa Graves was the mistress that he fooled around with and got Whitney, his only daughter. Okay, we still trying to research that. Not much now. We ain't spending no hell of a lot of time, but we just get surface stuff, okay, on Whitney's comings and goings, when she was born, where she was born. And like I told y'all, I researched, a little research that I did do, I could not find any information on, it was just limited information, I should say, on Whitney's supposedly mother, Sissy, and brother John over here. It's like it's almost wiped clean. But maybe I'm researching wrong. Who knows? Okay, let's go back to the article. He was basically saying that Bobby Brown was a nuisance, and he had to get her off some charges that Bobby Brown and her were dealing with, and she still owed him. He wanted his money still, but he really didn't like Bobby Brown. And, from how Bobby was acting back there in the day, he was acting like a single man. He was sowing his wild oats, similar to what John is doing. But he's trying to say, it's like the pot calling the kettle black. He did the same thing, running with women, getting them pregnant, partying with them, just that cheating on his wife, that type of lifestyle. And I don't know if Whitney ever cheated on, Bobby ever cheated on Whitney, but he had that persona where he was a ladies' man, and he was going to wine dine you and give you some little trinkets to remember the occasion that y'all were together. Because, like I said, he bought Janet Jackson a car. Janet Jackson said, take that car back, or we cannot be seen in public. We can do what we need to do, allegedly, behind closed doors. But no, my daddy said no, and I'm going to go with my daddy say, okay? Because he was also her manager at the time as well. But let's go back.
Celebrity Justice producer Jerry Wagshaw landed the interview with Mr. Houston after several visits to the hospital. He and colleague Carlos Diaz do not believe John is being a greedy gold digger.
He seemed remorseful that it came to this. He doesn't seem proud that he's suing his own daughter.
Whitney's dad says he only wants to pay off his substantial debts, take care of his ailing wife, and enjoy this message for the daughter he has loved and been proud of for so long.
You get your act together, honey. And you pay me the money that you owe me. If you do that, you haven't got a lawsuit.
Now, Jack, did you hear what man say? He said, get your act together and pay me my money, what you owe me. I'm like, that's what certain women and men do? They just sit and have children and then expect for them, or no demand that they be there to secure their future. They just like they were, securing your future when you were young, and they were planning what they're gonna save for you and what they were gonna try to help you be introduced to, which was the music business. And Sissy called herself training Whitney. She was Whitney's vocal coach or whatnot, and did a wonderful job because Whitney sounds amazing during that time where she really wasn't doing anything and she wasn't married herself. So we give Sissy kudos and everything, but like I said, they had a very flawed marriage because he was cheating, she was cheating. So wouldn't it be wise that he cheated with Teresa Graves? It kind of give you the similarity, and the pictures are undeniably look just like Whitney. Okay, now only thing I know, you can get cloned that way. Okay, but I'm just still amazed at the resemblance and the facial expressions and stuff, and the whole makeup of her total body. But they want to say that Sissy is Whitney Houston's biological child, but pictures say otherwise. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, it's almost like they scraped it clean, where you couldn't find just limited information about John Houston, or John Russell Houston is what they called him. But honey, child, he sued her, okay? Sued her. Well, let's go back to the article.
Echo was in.
Okay, that was it for that particular one. Let's hear Whitney talks about her dad. Let's see. And this was in 2009.
My father passed away, and I loved him so dearly. And that put a real dent in everything, because that's when things really started that's really when it started getting really crazy. And my husband really started acting up. I guess he figured, he's gone now. You don't have your dad. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but.
And this is a interview she had with Oprah in 2009. They titled it, Whitney Houston discusses her father, John Houston, on Oprah 2009. Okay, let's continue.
I had my mother. But your dad suing you, that had to be hard. Well, you know what? My dad was being influenced by people that were lying to him. My father was sickly at the time. He was in the hospital. I was paying the bills. I took care of my father. So you forgave him? Absolutely. Yeah. In the end, you forgave him? Absolutely. I love my dad. I knew he was sickly. My father was in his 80s at that point. And he was in the hospital constantly with heart problems and diabetes. And people were trying to get money from him, extract money from him, blackmail him. At the time, it was painful, was it not? It was very. It was a period of 2 years where we didn't speak at all. But when he got sickly, really sickly, I went to the hospital and I said, "Let's end this right now. You're my father. I love you. I'm going to be here to the end. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be the one that's going to take care of you." And finally, when it was the end, everything was in my hands. I heard you chose not to go to the funeral, but spent private time with him. I had a memorial the day before the funeral. That was my own. That was my own. That was just my family. For me, Dion, my cousin Dee Dee, my mother. There was so much press and so many, media. Some of the media was following me around. I couldn't grieve in privacy. So I had my own service. And then my father was very influential man in the city of Newark and New Jersey, and he had a lot of friends. So I had one for them that they could go to. But I had my own. Yeah. You had your own. Yeah. It was my own. Passing. Yeah.
Okay, and that was the conclusion of that particular one. Then we go to another clip where, hold on, it's, okay, it's titled All You Need to Know About Mom, Sissy, and Dave, or Dad, John Russell, aka Whitney Houston parents. I don't see who actually did this, because we do like to cite our sources. But I think it was one of the networks. But let's go and see what they had to say.
Whitney Houston, who sang I Will Always Love You, was a popular performer and actress who unfortunately passed away on February 11, 2012. She went on to become one of the all-time best-selling recording artists throughout her lifetime and take home 6 Grammy Awards. She also acted in popular films like Sparkle, The Bodyguard, and Waiting to Exhale. Whitney was reared by her accomplished mother, Sissy Houston, 89, a great singer-songwriter herself. For additional information...
Or was it Teresa Graves, her mother? We may never know, because John knew, allegedly, he was messing with somebody underage, and that's just something they did in Hollywood. So when they want stuff to be put out to the public, they'll get somebody to leak the information. When they don't want nobody to know something, it's almost like they get scared because they know if they say too much information about what's really going on, somebody will come mysteriously and off them off, if you get my drift. So, like I said, some things you just have to think about, and some things you just have to let go because you're not going to find the information that's going to bring it to fruition. And I think that's pretty much what's happened to Whitney. Okay? It's almost like keep your mouth closed, you'll live to see another day. Okay?
Information about Whitney's parents, especially her manager's father, John Russell Houston, continue reading. Sissy published the memoir Remembering Whitney in 2013, a year after her daughter Whitney passed away. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey, 68, the same year, she talked openly about the moment she learned that her daughter had passed away. She recalled at the time, "Well, my son called me and he was yelling, 'Mom, Mom!' I don't recall much else after asking, 'Is she dead?' To which he replied, 'Yes, Mommy, she's dead.'"
Now, my thing is, why would you arbitrarily pick that word or those sentences out the blue? I mean, were you expecting? Did somebody tell you that this was going to be the last day you see your child or hear about your child? It was just really weird for her to make that statement. Is she dead? It's almost like she knew if something was going on and she knew what was going to happen, but she didn't know when. Okay? It's just a choice of words. People play on words, and you have to kind of like sift them out to see what they are really saying. Almost like a code, speaking in code. Okay? Let's go on.
When Sissy learned the terrible news, she described herself to Oprah as a wreck and as being alone. Whitney said at the time, "My dad was being persuaded by people who were lying to my father. At the time, my father was ill and hospitalized. I was taking care of my father and also paying the bills." Whitney said to the author of Own It that she forgave John despite their vicissitudes. "I love my dad, without a doubt," she replied. "And I was aware of his illness because, at the time, he was in his 80s and frequently admitted to the hospital for cardiac issues." Whitney said that they didn't speak at all for a number of years during that time. But Whitney made the decision to cease the conflict when he developed a serious illness.
Okay. So, let's get a little something on Bobby Brown on what he felt about the situation.
We're learning more tonight about the dark and final days of legendary superstar Whitney Houston. Her ex-husband, Bobby Brown, revealing new and intimate details of the couple's turbulent marriage, including their drug abuse. And Brown is pointing fingers tonight about the tragic loss of his daughter, Bobby Christina. ABC's Robin Roberts has the exclusive conversation.
Okay, we are getting this from ABC News. I guess a journalist wrote it up for them. It was on ABC Nightline. We can't play that, or we'll get censored.
Toast. 2 days back. At the center of it all, Bobby Brown, father to her only daughter, Bobby Christina, who tragically also passed away 3 years after her famous mother. If I could get toast, 2 days back. Tonight, Bobby Brown speaking out about the women he loved and lost. I still loved her. Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston were a seemingly unlikely pair. She was the reigning...
Okay, we can't play that, okay?
When you find love, you find it. I mean, it finds you, I should say. Between me and her, it was so instant. We were so much like each other that it made sense. They married in 1992. Now, you broke tradition a little bit and saw her before the wedding. Mm-hmm.
And as we can say, the cowboy wearing hat, John Russell Houston, didn't care for Bobby Brown. Okay?
Well, that was the first time I had actually saw her do drugs. Cocaine? Yes, ma'am. Bobby says in his upcoming book, Every Little Step, he found his bride-to-be, quote, hunched over a bureau, snorting a line of coke. He says she offered him a hit, but he didn't indulge at that moment. What went through your mind when you saw that? The drugs wasn't her. She did drugs, but The drugs didn't do her. She knew how to handle herself. It only made me, love her and want to protect her more.
People said to me, the one thing that they heard over and over again, that you were the one that led Whitney to heavy drug use.
Well,
you were the one.
It wasn't me. It started her. And I take my part, and I take it hard for me even being a part of it. But we all have our own minds.
In public, the young couple...
And that is the picture of the contract that Mr. John Russell Houston sent out and filed charges against Whitney about he needed his money. I tell you, that damn John Houston, he's on mail.
Glowed with promise at the Bodyguard movie premiere. And more good news. In March 1993, Bobby and Whitney welcomed their precious baby girl, Bobby Christina Brown, into the spotlight.
This is love, and I think love
But their happy home life wasn't all it seemed. Bobby Brown had multiple arrests, ranging from marijuana possession to drunk driving and various parole violations. But Whitney stood by her man, even recording a duet.
And that's what John Houston was talking about when he said she had got with the wrong person, and he had to get her out of a lot of situations that had to deal with drugs and alcohol, and he had to make issues go away. He had to make sure they never saw the light of day for some of her actions. You see what I'm saying? He was bailing her out, I guess, using his money, and he wanted his money back. All right. On his deathbed, he would want his money back. Like he was really going to have time to really utilize it or put it to whatever bill or whatever thing he wanted. Or he could have still been, messing around in the streets, okay? And the women said they was going to tell. So he might have tried to get them their money before they, tell some salacious story about him. All right, to his wife, Sissy, if you get my drill.
Point to not let us see me or my wife in that type of situation. I mean, it's hard when you're doing it every day.
But the world was beginning to take notice.
All right.
At a certain point, when you're using drugs, you don't know that the outside people that are seeing you.
People remember vividly my colleague and friend, Diane Sawyer. Crack is whack.
Wow.
Crack is cheap. I make too much money to ever smoke crack. Let's get that straight, okay? We don't do crack. We don't do that. Crack is whack.
People cannot let that go.
Diane Sawyer, love her. Just bad timing. We both needed to get away from what we were doing. There was no reason for her to be on television at that time.
But she didn't get away from the cameras. The opposite, in fact. Whitney Houston started appearing on her husband's reality show, Being Bobby Brown, along with their daughter, Bobby Christina, exposing her to the harsh glare of the spotlight. You said that you felt that as parents, you and Whitney failed, Bobby Chris.
We should have been better. We could have been better. At such a young age for us both to have any and everything that we wanted. It was a blessing and a curse.
A curse because money for drugs was never a problem for the couple. In his book, Bobby Brown admits to abusing cocaine, marijuana, and heroin, in addition to alcohol. When was the drug use at its height with you and Whitney?
The last few years of our marriage, it was terrible. Both of us, trying to be clean, and one of us trying to be clean, and the other one don't want to be clean, and it's a big struggle.
They had tried on and off to get sober, but Bobby Brown says Whitney just wouldn't stop using. And that in 2006, that's what ultimately led to the end of their 14 years of marriage.
She just wasn't ready to go that direction.
Newly divorced, Whitney Houston was in search of a comeback, when she appeared on Good Morning America in 2009. It was her first televised performance in 7 years. What has it meant for you to be back here on stage?
I'm overwhelmed. The love, the support.
A now grown-up Bobby Christina would make a rare public appearance singing with her mother.
Clap your hands.
48.
Saturday afternoon, celebration would not last.
Breaking news tonight, the death of singing star Whitney Houston at the age of 48.
Saturday afternoon, February 11th, 2012, Whitney Houston is discovered partially submerged in the bathtub of her Los Angeles hotel room.
3:55 p.m. this afternoon, Whitney Houston was pronounced dead.
According to the autopsy report, cocaine use contributed to Whitney's accidental drowning. In the aftermath of her death, Bobby Brown says the relationship with his daughter, already strained, worsened. The Brown family also believed Bobby Christina was being manipulated by another person, Nick Gordon. Gordon was rumored to be Whitney's adopted son. Bobby Christina called him her brother. After Whitney's death, the couple claimed to be much more.
I'm married, and we're fine. We're really very happy. He is my backbone.
There have been no legal documents to prove that the couple ever married. In 2014, Bobby and his daughter had just started to reconcile and met on Father's Day for an emotional reunion. You hadn't seen each other in a while because you were a bit estranged.
Yeah.
You all hugged each other when you saw each other in the restaurant, and it was kind of like old time.
And you all pretty much know towards the end what had happened to Bobby Christina. But that was a little episode I did. I really wasn't going to go into much about John, because John was a mess all in itself. But I believe he did love his daughter, but he kind of got too far out there with needing money and wanting money and this, that, and the third, and it just didn't pan out because he died shortly after everything was really cleared up, because Whitney was taking care of him, making sure he had what he needed when he was in the hospital. But that's all I got. I ain't got no more, guys, and I'll see y'all on the next video. Bye-bye.